start our discussion on measurement. Okay, so before I give lecture on this topic, I would like to ask some of you related with your understanding about performance measurement. Okay, first I would like to ask Idawati. Idawati. So Ida. Okay, Idawati. For your understanding, who responsible to conduct performance measurement?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, who responsible to conduct performance measurement?
Wait a minute.
Huh?
Wait, doctor.
Pardon?
I think the public sector.
Yeah, organization performance. Or before that, like for example, for the individual like yours, you as a student, who responsible to conduct performance measurement?
For student, I think the lecturer, they
The
will.
lecturer, is it lecturer responsible to conduct your performance?
I mean, for student, I think it is for ourselves to see our improvement from each semester.
Yeah. No, I would like to ask who's siapa yang bertanggungjawab untuk mengukur prestasi atau melaksanakan pengukuran prestasi?
I think the student itself.
The student itself.
Yeah.
So, in your case, let's say, are you conduct the performance measurement?
No.
Huh?
No.
So, if you said no, how can you your answer is you said that student itself?
I'm not sure, doctor. I'm sorry.
Huh?
I'm not sure.
Lecture?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
Yes.
Okay, for yourself, you're not sure. Okay, now we talk about for organization. For organization, who's?
I think the director.
The director.
For the organization. The management.
The management.
Yeah.
Could you give example? The management who conduct the performance.
Maybe the HR department. They
HR
will measure their employees' performance.
That is employees, individual. Now we talk about the organization. I do ask about the organization, not about the individual employees.
I don't know, doctor. I'm so sorry.
So this is our almost last topic in Ida. So I quite worried about your understanding of this topic, because we go through all, and then at the end you are still not sure. Uh, but never mind, we pass to your friend. Kita tanya Siti Nur Siti Fazila. Fazila, for
Yes,
your
Dr.
for your understanding, who should conduct the performance measurement for organization?
For me, I think the management, Dr.
The management.
Hmm.
Okay, who's the management in your case? And then can you give example of that?
If in the company, for example, in a university system, we have a peer evaluation, right? So,
Huh?
we have a peer evaluation, right? In a group, grouping assignment. So,
Huh?
lecturer provide peer evaluation form to the student, give a mark for their student. So,
Huh?
I think that is management.
The management.
Uh-uh.
And what kind of performance measurement they have done? They have employ.
Pardon me, Doctor. What kind
But
of
what
what
kind
kind
what
of
of measurement they have been employed?
what kind of management team and that,
Ah.
so that they know on so that the lecturer know all the students are commit to do the assignment, Doctor.
Huh? The assignment. There is now you talk about the individual. I do ask a question. Sorry, an organization.
Oh, I'm sorry. In organization. So
Ah.
in organization, there are staff that going to provide it. The organization. I mean, the manager in the organization will do the performance measurement for the employee.
Now for the organization. Now we talk about the performance measurement for organization, not for the individual. If you talk about the employees the individual. We have employees A, B, C, and so on. Okay, macam ni lah Siti, senang. I tanya macam ni. Dalam when you apply to further your study at the bachelor degree, you are from maybe from SPM qualification, and then you have the opportunity, you have the option, public university, private university, and the public university you have numbers around 20 public university in Malaysia ni. And then you decide to apply for UUM because maybe you feel that UUM is one of the top university maybe. So that is you have a ranking, you have a performance, you measure. How do you know UUM is one of the top university that is lead you to make a decision to join or apply to be a student for UUM?
How do I know the university? Right.
because beside UUM, you have another option. You have your KM, your PM, you UM, your NISA, or whatever university.
Yes, sir.
All is offer accounting program.
Yeah,
But why you choose UUM?
because UUM is the best accounting
Huh?
account because UUM provide accounting the best account for accounting student untuk further study.
Huh?
Yeah.
But other university also offer the same thing, the same program of the accounting.
But the ranking of the UUM is above all of that.
Pardon? Or your
The
decision because UUM near with your hometown. Is it that is the reason?
No, because UUM have a good ranking for accounting
Ah,
students.
ranking for accounting student. Okay.
Uh,
So ranking who's set the ranking?
um, the, the person who do the analysis, I think, I'm sorry.
Is it UUM itself set their ranking?
No.
So if
This is
now
website.
we want to know who's
Kementerian Pelajaran Malaysia.
is it Ministry of Malaysia Education
Education.
set the ranking?
Yes.
Also means that the Ministry of Education set number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Is it
Yes.
like that?
Yes.
Okay. Can you support your statement?
Support my statement.
Ah, if you say that this is a kementerian, so boleh you provide evidence kementerian yang set all this. You set through what? Macam mana what are their procedure process, for example, in order to rank the university.
Yeah. Ministry of Education will make the statistic of every student in Malaysia. Their result, the best result of their GPA, so that and also they may measure their.
What do you mean best result of GPA?
I mean the Minister of Education will make a statistic based on their performance. Each of university performance, their student performance.
Yalah, I do ask macam mana boleh dapat university performance tu? Bukan saya tanya macam mana dia boleh allocate student, tapi sekarang kita talk tentang university performance tu. You kata conduct by the kementerian.
They make an evaluation.
Pardon?
They make an evaluation for every the people will provide statistic of student, right?
Okay, Siti. Now you talk about the evaluation or you talk about the performance measurement?
Or based on the evaluation, so we can get performance, right?
Yeah, but I do ask you about the measurement, how the kementerian measure the performance of the university, and then later you see that because you say that kementerian conduct the performance, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, and then how they measure the performance? Because if you want to conduct the performance, you need to tell us how to measure. Because from the measurement, we can evaluate the performance. How do you measure? And then you put ranking because you say that, oh, you choose your UN because UN is the top ranking. That is top ranking, top performance as conduct by the Kementerian. So if you say like that, first I do ask, oh, is it true the Kementerian conduct the performance of each university? And second, what are the measurements they have been used in conducting the performance? If you see the Kementerian, ini nampaknya you pun lebih kurang dengan Ida ni, Siti. Nanti I afraid takut you punya grade pun sama sebab because this is the at the end result. You see the performance is the end result. All of us, you as a student, you looking for the performance. Nanti kalau performance pun you tak tahu apa makna performance, how to conduct performance, what are the difference between the performance measurement and evaluation, nanti you pun trouble. Lepas tu you start lah persalahkan orang lain, you start persalahkan lecturer, you start persalahkan other parties, other people, but right, you sendiri pun tak faham apa dia. Okay, so never mind that, but there is some of the example of the what we say that the misunderstanding about the performance measurement and evaluation and the performance itself. So therefore, this topic is a little bit challenge, and then therefore I request you to read carefully and try to understand, because with there you are able to hopefully resolve some of your doubt about the performance. Actually, the performance is easy to say, but difficult to understand. This is due to some of the conceptual problem, especially for the public sector. Like for example, I do a very simple question. I do ask two of your friends, Ida and Siti, about who responsible to conduct performance, and then your answer is go very way. You are not provide who's like Ida said that a student itself. If you talk about the individual, when I do ask about the organization, who's he said that the management. So if the management if you are the management, you want to rate yourself is low? I don't think so. You want to rate yourself is low. All of us have a tendency to rate very high performance. When I do ask Siti, she said that Kementerian, Ministry of Education or Ministry of Higher Education. But when I do ask, can you support yours? You start go, because if you talk about this, of course the ministry will provide, like for example, a guideline or a yearly assessment on the measurement, how to measure and so on. Because if I as a manager or I as a top management of the university, I will see that there is something wrong if you Kementerian rate ours is in the low position without any proper measurement. So there is some of the example of the problem related with the performance measurement. We are not touched on the performance because the performance is the next step. The performance is the next step, and then we are unable to capture the data to show, to support, or to analyze, or to discuss the performance. But this topic will focus more on the performance measurement, which is the method or the measurement that lead to the result. The result is the performance. So for example, I give a simple example. Like if we want to know your academic performance, so academic performance, and then we have the accepted measurement. The accepted measurement is we call the quantitative measurement that is in the name of the GPA and CGPA. So GPA for the semester or short-term basis, and then CGPA for the long-term or for the cumulative performance. And then there is CGPA and GPA is come from the measurement based on the coursework and examination. So therefore, we provide to you how to measure. You will be measured based on the coursework and based on the examination. And then coursework will have several criteria, and then examination have several criteria. But this is the way to measure. With there, all the students feel it is fairness, because you being measured based on the same thing. So that is important, because if we measure a different measurement, we are adopt for a different people. Of course, some people will not agree with that, will not satisfy. So we have a standard. So this is the way how to measure the individual. But for the organization, so therefore we need to understand for the organization who are responsible to conduct. And in Malaysia case, we have several agency who are responsible to conduct. Of course, one of the is the organization itself. But if organization is itself, as I say that, it have made tendency to give a very high performance for themselves. So therefore, we have another agency, but in different mode of measurement. For example, we have the Auditor General Office, or NAD, as we discussed in the previous topic. So one of the audit that being conducted by the NAD is we call the performance audit. So performance audit. So performance audit are conducted by the Auditor General toward all the agency, and then their examination or their measurement is based on the spending performance, So, and then the way they conduct are through the examination based on the economy, effective and efficient. So there is one of the agency who are responsible to conduct the performance in terms of the spending performance for the public sector agency. So there is one of the, and another example is if you look on the Mampu, it's a central agency. Mampu is the agency who responsible to conduct the performance of the public sector organization in terms of the KPIs. That using the KPIs, key performance indicator. So there is the indicator, all the indicators are developed and set up by the Mampu. And then based on the indicator, there is comprised of the 4 different dimensions. So the Mampu have conducted the performance by achieved by the public sector organization. And in the later stage, you can see that in the 2011, there is another performance measurement being implemented, namely NKRAs. NKRAs, which is NKRAs are conducted by the one agency, namely Pemandu. Pemandu being responsible to conduct the performance measurement on the selected ministries on the key areas. That is namely NKRA. There is the example of the who's responsible. But let we look on the detail of this topic. Okay, so this topic I divided into two. The first one, we talk about the performance measurement and evaluation in general. In general means that I do not specifically in Malaysia. And then in the latest stage, we have the public sector performance measurement and evaluation in Malaysia. So the first one is we talk about the general, in general, because regardless where you are operate, regardless where you are stay, regardless where you are, either you are a public entity or private entity, all of the organization are looking for the performance. Because why? Because there is several reason for that. One of the, if the private sector, for example, the forced by the owner or the shareholders to get the better performance or the better high service quality, similar to the public. So the stakeholder always force the government agency to perform because they are looking for the better service quality. A best example, you look on the case when flood affected some area in Selangor especially. So the people crying and they blame the government agency because their service is very poor, very late, do not provide necessary service, for example. So there is one of the reason why the performance need to be conduct, because there is forced by the people, by the citizen. Another is because due to the situation where right now you can see that we take a simple example, it's our country. The government always short of fund to provide better quality service to the people. So we have a limited sources, but unlimited desire and demand. So based on that, of course, when we have a very limited resources, how to give priority to the service area. So the priority are normally we need to have a basis, and the basis is perform. If that agency perform, for example, you will give priority. If not perform, you will give less priority. So that is one of the reason why the performance are very important for the organization. Okay, so let me look on what the slide that I have been prepared. You can refer to your own beside what I show here. This is when we talk about the performance. We need to understand performance normally used in the sense of result. So result or the achievement. So therefore, student always looking for the result. At the end of the semester, when you go through all the measurement, assessment, evaluation, so you always looking for the result, because the result is represent your performance, and then the result may be evaluated in terms of the product, outcome, impact, effectiveness, efficiency, and so on. That is the way the result have been evaluated. Okay, and then the second thing, normally the people feel that the public sector organization performance is normally a little bit negative. For example, public sector performance normally associate with the less as efficient, wasteful, slowly. Therefore, a best example, when we look on the hospital, for example, a private versus a public hospital, transport, a private transport versus a public transport. And then when we do ask the people who have so much money, for example, for the richer person especially, when we do ask why you go to the private hospital instead of the public hospital, you can get a very common answer is a very timely, need to queue, need to follow all the procedure, and then spend almost more than 1 hour, 2 hours to get the service of the doctor. But when you choose to go to the private hospital, it's very efficient, very fast. So this is talk about that matters. Similar to when you talk about the public transport versus the alternative transport. So you will say that, oh, public transport very slow, uncomfortable, and so on. So this is the aspect that always associate with the public sector. But the problem is it actually right? Is it actually truth? There is subject to the way how we are looking for. Because for me, it is not so very accurate measurement when you say that the public hospital is very slow. But I agree, if we want to get the service from the public hospital, we need to wait and they spend almost around 1.5 hours. Yes, but we what we say right in assess that, because if we divide between the numbers of doctor as compared to the patient, so you can see that actually the public doctor, public hospital is more efficient, because you imagine that we have public hospital normally have around 4 to 5 doctors in providing the outpatient service, but the numbers of the patient daily around is maybe 2,000 or 3,000, and then you can see that the portion of that as compared to the private hospital or clinic, they maybe have 1 or 2 doctors, but the number of patients maybe just 50 or maybe just 60. And then if you evaluate in more depth, and then in the more accurate measurement, you can see that that perception is actually the methods, not the fact. Okay, and this is what I try to share with yours about the performance measurement. We want to give you understanding how important for us to get the right way of the measurement, because from the right way of the measurement, we will get the right result or performance. If not, of course, we will get this as a routine, and then we have a wrong decision on that. So, and then lead to the wrong thing, wrong decision, and wrong adjustment on that. Okay, that is the first. The second, if you understand, you read from the literature, actually the performance is originally come from the private sector. So therefore, even if you read my textbooks, you can see a little bit different here. Because I would like to say, sorry, I didn't say that it's wrong in the textbooks. That is the right way. But in the textbook, I do not describe the differences between the origin of the performance measurement that directly come from the private sector and then adopt in the public sector with the um, uh, performance measurement that tailored to be used in the public sector. So because why? Originally, the performance measurement are come from the private sector. So because the private sector in the earlier stage, they are facing the competition from their competitor. So therefore, to gain and then to get the advantage, they need to perform. For example, we talk about the car manufacturer. If you remember, the car manufacturer previously in the early stage, they are conquered by the Western country like US and also the Europe continental car. But later on, the car manufacturer that is come from the Japan, Korea, and China, if they want to compete with their competitor from the Europe, they need to perform well. Meaning that they need to be more effective, cost reduction. So because through the cost reduction, they can sell it in the cheap price. So when they sell in the cheap price, they will get the demand and then they will get the benefit from there. So therefore, how to achieve the efficient, effective? So they need to be measured. They are looking for the performance. Either they increase in terms of the labor, in terms of the material, and so on. Okay, and another thing is for you to be understand, performance measurement is not an end. This is not the end. So it is a means to support a better decision making. So why? Because through the right and efficient and the correct measurement we have been done, we are able to provide the right performance. So and then it will make support a better decision making. Okay, and then the next is the choice for a specific model of the performance measurement have been depend on the several factors. For example, the type of public organization, the criteria, and the measurement method that is determined by, among others, is culture, condition, and so on. So this is also need to be taken into consideration when we decide to employ which performance measurement. So it is a basic thing about the performance measurement that we need to understand. Okay, so the part B is the definition. I hope that you read for yourself what are the meaning of this terminology, because sometimes we are not understand the right way of the terminology. We use that terminology, but we don't know what are actually the meanings of that. Like for example, we talk about the performance indicator, performance measurement, um, performance itself, and then this is some of the um, terminology of the term that we use in this topic. Okay, so we look on the concept of the performance and performance indicator. So normally we gain through indicator. Okay, so performance, that is cover both financial and non-financial aspect. This is I talk about organization, not talk about the individual. So performance, organizational performance actually by the concept, it need to be cover both financial and non-financial aspect. Because I give simple example when we talk about the cars, for example, a product of the manufacturing car manufacturer. So when we talk about the cars, for example, beside the price, the customer also need to look on the quality. There is non-financial aspect, the quality, the futures, and so many things, which is non-financial. But beside that, of course, the financial matters talk about the price of the car. Because when you want to buy a car, of course, you're looking for the range of price as one of the indicator. So that is we look, if we look from the user's perspective. But if you look from the organization on the car manufacturer's perspective, of course, they are looking on that matters also. What are the price they want to sell it? Because if they are selling a little bit higher, of course, they are in the lower position as compared to their competitor. Similar to the aspect of the quality and so on, quality of their product. So if the quality is low, of course, they are in the low position as compared to their competitor. Okay, and then PI, on the other hand, PI, performance indicator. So this is represent a set of measure that normally focus on aspect that is most critical, aspect. So the indicator must be taken into consideration the most critical aspect. As I say, as I give example here, is let's talk about the cost. One of the most critical aspects is the price. So the price should be one of the indicator. Another aspect on the quality should be is one of the indicator that need to be taken when we talk about the performance. Okay, and then in develop the PI, because now when we move from the performance to the PI, performance measurement, and the PI, performance indicator. So the next question is how to develop the PI. How to develop the PI. So how to develop? Because it is important. If we just say that, yes, we need to have the PI indicator. We need to determine the indicator. But the question is how? So therefore, all this matter, what I have been said here, this is the indicator, and the theory that been used in develop the indicator that originally set up for the private sector, but later on being adopted to the public sector with the modification. So this is we talk about the root of that. We have two indicator, that namely the economic theory and stakeholders theory. So economic theory and stakeholders theory. And then the economic theory, they are normally based on the financial aspect. They are developed based on the financial aspect. While on the stakeholders theory, developed based on the both financial and non-financial indicator. Financial and non-financial indicator. And then please don't ask me which one is right, because you need to understand when we talk about the theory, both are right. Both are right. Like for example, if I want to determine your performance, if I want to use your character as one of the indicator, it is right. If I want just to use the CGPA as indicator, also it is right. So because the at the end is we want to get the performance, and then the performance you can define if you just looking the performance just from the achievement of the what we say of your academic capabilities. Yes, we can use the CGPA. Therefore, when you want, you go to the interview to get the job. Normally, the interviewer not just looking with your certificate, your scroll, um, your degree, but they are looking on other aspect, like for example, your appearance, your capability, your dressing, your attitude, and so on. Means that they are taken from varies of the indicator. So as I said, that the indicator, if just focus on the financial aspect, that is the indicator developed based on the economic theory. If the indicators that represent the both aspect, financial and non-financial, the indicators are developed based on the stakeholders theory. Okay, so we know the origin, the how to develop, and then now we look on the performance measurement and the evolution from where, starting where, and then later we look from the Malaysia. This is, as I said, that still in the general. I provide in general, not specific in Malaysia, but including Malaysia. Okay, so by conceptual, performance measurement is the tools that describe the organization improvement. So there is performance measurement is a tools. And then this is another issue. Later we put in the issue is in terms of the terminology. Sometimes I will use the term measurement, sometimes use the term evaluation, sometimes to use the term tools, indicators, method, approach, and then no, I just what I mean, I just like to say that, but this is I based on the literature, because in the literature also they are a little bit confused and then use this term exchangeably. Later on, I will provide what have been suggested by the literature about that. Okay, this is if we talk from the evolution or from the historical development of the performance measurement. If you look in the early stage, there is a measurement, performance measurement are normally based on the costing, management accounting, costing of the product. This is, as I said, that because the performance measurement normally developed by the private sector. And the private sector, their product is, their output is normally in terms of product. So therefore, they are measured based on the costing. Costing, how they cost, because the cost will determine the price and so many decisions on that matters. And then in the early stage also, the performance measurement, they are emphasis on the reduction of the waste. So waste based means that to determine whether there is performed well or not, we are look on the waste. If we can reduce the waste, so it's more better performance as compared to the we have so many waste. That is in the early stage. So due to the time when the time is more advanced and so on, the people looking that merely use the costing is not enough, because we are ignore the non-financial measures. Let's say I would like to give a very simple. Right now, the people looking so many things. People is more critical, not like in the early stage. If you remember, maybe during not your time, but during your father and mother time, or your grandfather, grandmother time. During that time, the best is just look at the price for the product. The price cheaper, okay. The price is expensive, not okay. But right now, most people not just looking at the at the price, but they're looking for the more aspect in terms of the shaping, in terms of the quality, in terms of the delivery, so many things in terms of useful. So there is the many things. So when the trend is like that, of course the measurement need to be react on that matters. So therefore, costing itself is not uh, um, um, uh, enough. So um, uh, we can see that the concept of the performance measurement have evolution from time to time, and then in the later stage, so many initiatives have been taken on the dynamic performance management. So which is try to be more holistic, try to be more holistic. That is the later stage on that matters of the performance measurement. Okay, and then this is a three model that have been exists in the performance measurement for the organization. That is known as the 3 model. 3 model is the name for that, but actually the model is talk about the economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. But in short form, we call the 3 which is these 3 are developed based on the economic theory. And then IOO, input, output, and outcome model, IOO model. So this is another model that is complement to 3 model. So complement to the 3 model. And then The last is on the BSc model. So BSc model, from this, we have KPIs. KPIs are one of the measurement that developed based on the BSc model. So developed based on the BSc model. Okay, and then this is the comparison between the model, 3Es, IOO, and BSc model. What are the indicators, advantage, and then disadvantage of that? Okay, so this is the challenges when we want to adopt and adapt the performance measurement from the private sector into public sector. There are so many challenges because these two sector is very different, very different into several aspects. So if there is different into several aspects, of course, there is a very challenges to adopt and adapt. Alternatively, we need to develop, but to develop also a very challenge. This is among the related challenges facing by the public sector. First, in terms of the objective. So until now, the objective of the government still unclear for several group of people. What are the objective of the government? Like for example, a very simple. I like to take example of the case of flood. So more of the people, they say the government are not helping them because the government didn't give the assistance. Didn't give the assistance. Once they get the assistance, let's say cash assistance, for example, or some good assistance, so they satisfy. You see that? Just because of that. But the objective of the government is to give assistance to the people. So there is the question. Is it that is the objective of the government? This is another thing that we say that confusing between the term performance, achievement, measurement, indicators, which is as argued by the Jazabskowski and Kaplan. The term tool is a generic name for the framework, concept, model, or method. So therefore, when we use tool, normally being accepted of that methods. Okay, so this is the obstacle. One of the obstacle is multi-dimensional nature of the objective. So this is when we talk about the public sector, they have a multi-dimensional nature of the objective, not just a single dimension of the objective. There is a multi-dimension of the objective. They, on the other hand, they need to give assistance, but on the other hand, they need to follow all the procedure and process. Because this is when we talk about the governance last time, not just talk about the performance, but also the conformance. Both need to be complied with. And another is another thing, existing system, they are developed mainly based on the economic financial indicators, while in the public sector, most of the economic financial indicators is not or less important or not enough. Okay, so now we look on the what happened in Malaysia. So performance measurement in Malaysia public sector. So in Malaysia public sector, we as a country around the world also facing the same thing. But we may have our own decision and our own solution on the performance measurement, because by hook by crook, the government need to perform. By hook by crook, the government need to perform. If they fail to perform, they will maybe not re-elect by the people. But the challenges for the government is how to convince the people that maybe their perception is not right, or maybe their measurement is not right, or maybe they don't understand, or maybe they have been manipulated by the other parties and so on. Okay, that is one thing. Another thing, if you read from the literature, there are a lot of literature or previous study on the performance, the term performance in the public sector in Malaysia, but most of the study actually not focus solely on the performance measurement, but they are more in the general in term of the quality culture, in terms of the initiative toward the quality, in terms of the innovation on the performance and so on. So that is what had been happened in Malaysia. Let's say, for example, starting, if you look, it is starting with the introduction of the PPSB. If you remember, we discussed the PPSB in the topic budget. PPSB have been implemented in Malaysia in the early 70s. So means that starting with the introduction of the PPSB, actually, there is the starting point where the government start to look for the performance, because the name of the budget system also talk about the performance. As we discussed in the topic performance, the requirement for the PPSB, one of the is to identify the objective, and then to develop indicator to measure the objective and so on. Because why? Before that, when Malaysia still practice the line item, there is no issue about the performance, because the determination of the resources not based on the performance activity and program, but just based on the line item of the expenditure that have been exists in the budget item. Okay, so therefore, in Malaysia, several initiatives have been taken by the government in the aspect of the budget transformation, human resource management, productivity measurement, total quality management, ISO standard, citizen charter, 5-star rating, KPIs, and the last is on the NKRA. So all this matter, this is not just talk about the initiative on the performance management, performance measurement, but in the overall, on the general, on the quality, on the performance, on the infrastructure, and so on. Why? Because all this matter actually lead to the performance, but not directly, but indirectly. Okay, and then this is the purpose of the conducting performance measurement in Malaysia. So actually in Malaysia, conducting performance measurement is a compulsory. So therefore, we have the compulsory indicator that need to be employed by all the agency, and we also have the um, voluntary indicator that may be just adopted by certain agency. So normally, how to know there is a compulsory or there is a voluntary? A compulsory normally come together with the either the law or the regulation. So either the law or regulation. For example, this, you can see that under the section 60, this is happened in the 1978 when the government amended the Audit Act 1957 by include the section 60 on the requirement to conduct the performance audit. So therefore, conducting of the performance indicator through the 3E model by the Auditor General for the all government agency are compulsory. So we can see that the 3Is method or 3Is indicator or 3Is approach is a compulsory performance measurement that have been implemented in Malaysian public sector. Okay, so the second purpose is to assess the accountability of the executive. So this is normally done with the several indicators. For example, on the compliance audit, there is one way to determine the level of the accountability. So therefore, compliance audit being conducted through the FMAI since 27. So which is financial um, um, measurement indicator index, financial management accountability index. Okay, and then another thing is because to assist the legislature in ensuring the effective control. So this is another thing. Um, uh, um, when we conduct the performance, so the legislation know whether the act that had been passed is effective or still have a loophole to be improved on that matters. Okay, and then come to the question that I do ask on the city and IDA on the who's are responsible on that matters. So in Malaysia, beside the organization itself, so we also have the specific agency. For example, Mampu. Mampu, this is the central agency who responsible to monitor the implementation of the KPIs. Indicator or method in Malaysia. NAD on the monitor and conduct the measurement of the agency on the spending measurement of the spending performance agency throughout the Malaysia, and also the accountability of the management for the public agency. And Pemandu, this is the agency who are responsible to monitor the implementation of the NKRA indicator in Malaysia. Okay, so this is the initiative, and then the performance indicator. I think we will continue on the next meeting on Thursday. For today, we will stop here. And then I hope please read for yourself uh, to ensure you are able to understand not just the lecture note, but please also read the textbook on the topic 5. This still reliable sources for you to understand, but on a different method. Okay, so with there, that's all for today.